In the grand theater of global business, where titans are often forged in elite universities and backed by old money, few stories resonate with the electrifying energy of a true underdog tale. It's the narrative of an unlikely hero, armed with audacious vision and relentless persistence, rising from obscurity to challenge the established order. In the modern era, no story embodies this spirit of improbable triumph quite like that of Jack Ma. Today, his name is synonymous with Alibaba, the technology behemoth he co-founded in a small apartment in 1999. This wasn't just a company, it was a digital revolution. Alibaba created an entire ecosystem of trust, logistics, and finance where none existed, empowering millions of small entrepreneurs. It gave them access to a national and eventually global marketplace, fundamentally rewiring the DNA of Chinese commerce and how a billion people connect. And at the center of it all is Ma himself, a figure of immense wealth and influence, but also a charismatic, often eccentric showman. He has stood on the world's biggest stages, not just as a CEO, but as a philosopher for the little guy. He's advised heads of state and shared his wisdom globally, becoming a household name from Shanghai to San Francisco. But this polished global icon is a world away from the man who began the journey. Before the billions and the fame, there was a string of devastating rejections and failures. He was a young man who was told time and again that he was not good enough, that he would never amount to anything. To truly understand the legend of Jack Ma, we must first understand the man and the incredible odds he overcame. Yet, to truly understand the magnitude of his success, one must travel back to a much simpler world. Every billionaire has a beginning. Here at Scratch to Fortunes, we share the untold stories of how ordinary people turned into global icons. Don't miss out, hit subscribe. Born Ma Yun in 1964, he grew up in Hangzhou, China, during a period of immense, often tumultuous cultural and economic transformation. His parents were traditional performers of pingtan, a local form of storytelling and ballad singing, and their income was meager. In the picturesque city of Hangzhou, China, known for its serene West Lake and ancient temples, a young boy named Ma Yun was growing up. Long before the world would know him as the charismatic billionaire Jack Ma, he was just a kid from a humble background with an insatiable curiosity. While his peers were focused on their textbooks, Jack was captivated by a different kind of knowledge, the English language, which he saw as a bridge to the vast, unknown world outside of China. This wasn't a fleeting interest. It was a mission. At just 12 years old, he hatched a plan. Every single morning for 9 years, rain or shine, he would wake up before dawn, hop on his rickety bicycle, and pedal 40 minutes to the city's main hotel. There, he offered free tours to foreign visitors, not for money, but for the invaluable opportunity to practice his English. He called them his foreign teachers, and through these daily conversations, he learned a perspective that would profoundly shape his future. But while his real-world education was flourishing, his formal schooling was a story of constant struggle. The rigid, rote memorization-based Chinese education system was a terrible fit for his creative mind. The rejections piled up. He failed his primary school exams twice, and his middle school entrance exams 3 times. Then came the ultimate academic hurdle, the notoriously difficult National College Entrance Exam. On his first attempt, his score was so low, he famously scored only 1 point out of 120 on the math portion. Many would have given up, but Jack Ma was not like many. He tried a second time and failed again. Undeterred, he prepared for a third attempt. This time, he finally passed, scraping his way into what was considered a third-rate college, the Hangzhou Teachers Institute. It wasn't Harvard, but it was a victory born of pure grit. This relentless spirit, forged in the crucible of repeated failure, would become the very foundation upon which he would later build a global empire. Before Jack Ma became a global symbol of entrepreneurial triumph, he was a connoisseur of failure. After graduating, he applied for 30 different jobs and was rejected by every single one, even the police. In one famous instance, he applied for a job at Kentucky Fried Chicken when it first opened in Hangzhou. 24 people applied for the job and 23 were hired. Jack was the sole applicant turned away. The pivotal moment in Jack Ma's story arrived in 1995 during a trip to the United States. In a friend's home, he was introduced to the internet for the very first time. Jack typed his first search: beer. Results appeared for German beer, American beer, Japanese beer. He then typed China beer. No results. His country seemed absent from the digital world. Jack Ma returned to Hangzhou and gathered 17 friends in his small, modest flat. In a now legendary speech, he laid out his audacious plan to create a global e-commerce marketplace for small and medium-sized enterprises. Each founding member put money on the table, pooling together starting capital of around £50,000. They named their company Alibaba, globally recognized, easily pronounced, evoking open sesame. In its first years, Alibaba was burning capital with alarming speed. The dot-com bubble had burst, and Jack was often called Crazy Jack. But with Joseph Tsai joining the team, they finally secured institutional funding, $5 million from Goldman Sachs. The ultimate validation came on September 19, 2014, when Alibaba launched its IPO, raising $25 billion. The largest IPO in history. Jack stood on the NYC balcony not with executives but with 8 loyal customers. Beyond the staggering numbers, what truly distinguishes Jack Ma is the philosophy at Alibaba's core. In a world prioritizing shareholder value, Ma flipped the pyramid. Customers first, employees second, shareholders third. This wasn't just a slogan, it was a radical strategy. He reasoned that happy customers create a thriving business. Empowered employees serve those customers well. In Ma's long-term vision, if the first two are cared for, shareholders are inevitably rewarded, creating a sustainable and ethical cycle of growth. This customer-centric view was born from his belief that the internet was the great equalizer. Before Alibaba, running a business in China was tough for the average person, with large corporations dominating. Ma saw the internet as a tool to shatter this barrier. He envisioned a digital marketplace where a small artisan in a remote village could access the same national customer base as a massive factory. Through platforms like Taobao and the revolutionary payment system Alipay, he built an entire ecosystem of trust, empowering millions to compete on a level playing field. This legacy of empowerment is deeply intertwined with his own story. His journey from a poor boy in Hangzhou, failing exams and being rejected from jobs, to a global icon has inspired millions to pursue impossible dreams. He wasn't a typical CEO, he was a teacher and a showman, famous for his theatrical appearances at the annual Alifest company events. He performed for tens of thousands of employees, fostering a unique culture of passion and shared purpose that became Alibaba's secret weapon. His life proves you don't need prestigious degrees or wealthy families, just vision, persistence, and courage. He famously said, "Today is cruel, tomorrow is crueler, and the day after tomorrow is beautiful." This captures his persistence through the dot-com bust and years of skepticism. His vision was to build e-commerce infrastructure for the next century, and his courage was in creating systems like Alipay, when no regulatory framework even existed. He built the bridge as he was crossing it. Jack Ma's story is a powerful reminder that great empires can be built from humble beginnings, a narrative of resilience and seeing opportunity where others saw obstacles. If you'd love more stories of individuals who defied the odds and built incredible legacies from scratch, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to Scratch to Fortunes. We're dedicated to bringing you the inspiration you need to turn your own ambitious dreams into reality.